Hello fellow aspirants, this is me Dr. Jagdish Jagtap, and today we'll learn about the tribals in the Northeast. Let us see how did the tribals in Northeast differ from the tribals in the rest of India. The tribals in the Northeast were the only tribal population which was in majority in their region. Across India, the tribal population is in minority, but only in Northeast is it a majority. Secondly, the British followed a policy of isolation for the Northeast region, but they permitted the activities of the Christian missionaries. This had two effects. First, it introduced the population to modernity to some extent, but it kept nationalism at bay. Following this, there was very less participation in the Indian national movement by the tribal population of the Northeast India, with some exceptions like that of Rani Gaidinliu. After independence, in the constitution, the Schedule 6 was provided, in which special provisions for the tribal population in Northeast India were made. Now let us look at the policy towards NEFA, that is Northeast Frontier Agency, which is today's Arunachal Pradesh. In 1948, it was declared as a union territory, and then in 1987, a state was formed, that is Arunachal Pradesh of present day. During this period, we see a classic example of developmental policies being implemented with a special cadre dedicated towards this. So we can assume that Arunachal was a great success in post-independent India. Secondly, in the case of Assam, there was a mismatch between the population of the plains and that of the hills. The population of the hilly area felt that the Assamese government was implementing an agenda of Assamization, and their doubts were seriously raised when in 1960 the Assam Official Language Act was passed, and that caused a huge uproar amongst the hilly populations. Ultimately, the central government had to create a state of Meghalaya in 1972. Now let us look at Nagaland. Before independence, Nagaland's population was around 5 lakh, and its population stood at 0.1% of the total population of India. But the Nagaland people resisted the policy of integration, and this resistance was headed by A.Z. Fizo. To counter this, the government of India followed two-pronged approach. In the first approach, they followed Nehru's ideology, that is of integration and development of the tribals along their own genius. But in 1956, the army intervention was done to suppress the military movement or the insurgency. And in 1957, Dr. Imkong Liba Ao was sworn as the Chief Minister of Nagaland. So this was a peaceful transition. In the case of Mizoram, the Mizo National Front with Lal Denga as president was formed, and even that was in response to the Official Language Act of 1960, which made Assam the official language of that state. Finally, in 1986, this insurgency was peacefully ended, and Lal Denga was sworn as the Chief Minister of Mizoram.